Welcome back to the channel and thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed just yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button at the end of this video. Today we're going to be going over the pre-ride check of the Harley Davidson Livewire. It is pretty much like a regular motorcycle pre-ride check, except for first step is checking battery. So the first step is to have your key on you and flip the bike on. Wait for the load screen. We're at 58% charge. We're not actually riding anywhere today, but if we were, then we need more than 73 miles if we're going on a long ride. Or if I'm going back and forth to work, I'd probably be fine. You can also refresh on the app and it'll show you your charge. The next step, according to the app, is to adjust your mirrors. I usually do that last because I tend to bump them while I'm doing the other things. Next, we check the front brake fluid. Right here, it is actually pretty full. It looks pretty black. If I were to tilt the bike farther out and shake it maybe a little bit, see the little bubble? That's how I know this thing's full. The rear brake fluid is on the right side of the bike, just under the seat right here. You're also supposed to check it while it's standing, but if you have a min and max and it's in between, no, it's not touching the line, you're fine. Next, you check the brake pads. You look for the pad material and it should be more than 2 millimeters. Front has brakes on both sides, so I'll be back after I check that. Forgive me, but checking the rear brakes, it's hard to get the camera in here. It's the same thing, 2 millimeters. I also forgot to mention on the front brakes, check the rotors, make sure they're wearing evenly, or if there's any gouges or anything to be concerned with. Next, we check the hand controls. Make sure they spring back just fine. If they don't, then you need to look into it. If it's too hard and requires the grip of Thor, you also need to look into that. Same goes for the rear brake. Next, we inspect the brake lines. We're looking for overall condition. Make sure there's no leaks, no nicks, nothing that will cause any problems. That's the front. And then the rear. And no leaks. Next, we will get on the bike and move the steering back and forth. Should be smooth. Next, you go over the tire, make sure your wear indicators are fine, which are the little Michelin guys right here. So that's the outside, but make sure you don't have any punctures or bubbles. And then you check the tire pressure. And of course, the tire valve is right behind the Brembo brakes right now. The front tire is supposed to be 36 PSI. And we're at 35.5. So I probably wouldn't bump the tire pressure at that point. And then it's the same thing for the rear tires. Make sure your wear indicators are fine. We're supposed to be at 42 PSI, we're at 40. I might bump it. Next is to set your shocks. I'm going to do an entire video on setting up the shocks. So this is your preload for the front shocks, and then your rebound and compression are on the other side. On the back, this is your shock adjustment for the rear. Next is check the belt for wear and tear, which, ooh, I got some strands right there. That's not good. But you're going to end up having to move the bike forward and aft to check the whole belt, just to be able to get what's up in here that's hard to see. And one of the last steps is to turn the bike back on. Let it boot up. and check all the switches. You go through the turn signals, make sure they're working, front and rear. Hazards. Horn. Supposed to check your high beams. Flash the pass. And change your mode just to make sure it works. You can also check the other switches here. Can't really check cruise control or traction control until you get going, but there's no faults for it, so it's probably good. And then you should also check your brake lights. Make sure they come on, squeezing the handle. That's going to do it for the Harley Davidson Livewire pre-ride check. Next Monday, I will have the shock adjustment video up and ready to go for you. After that, we will do the gearbox oil change because I am at 985 miles as of today. And then we will also have a couple other videos in the pipeline of the Saturn Sky. I have finally started making progress on it, and along with I have a little bit of interesting history of the Saturn Sky that not many people actually know. So hit that subscribe button, that like button, and I will catch you all around. Later.